Barjack chapter 13. Barjack's head hung low. He could hear monsters in the distance, coming closer, but he couldn't face looking at them. What was the point? He knew that they were never going to stop and help him, not in a million years. He'd failed to do the one thing that he'd ever been trusted to do. What good was he to anyone? Julius was right. He was no Mesopotamian glue, and he never would be. He was just an insect. Worse than an insect, a disgrace to the name of Jalal. He'd failed. Barjack glanced up at the hill, far away on the other side of the park. There was no way he could go back there, not without a dog anyway. That meant he might never see his home again. The kitchen full of china bowls, the Contessa's red velvet armchair, even the new toy mouse. Never again. He slunk into an alley that led away from the monsters, away from the hill, away from his memories of home. This alley was narrow and dark with the shadows of night. It was empty, except for a swarm of black plastic rubbish bags, so full they'd now split open. Ruined and smelly food seeped out of the bags like blood seeping out of a wound. The ground was slippery with scraps, soggy bread, slimy fruit, discarded and decaying in the dirt, just thrown away. Somewhere in the distance, almost buried in these smells, was the tang of meat. Barjack's stomach grumbled at this smell. It had been so long since he'd eaten. He remembered insisting to mother and father that he wanted to hunt, like Jalal. He laughed bitterly at this memory. It was so easy to talk about hunting, but to actually do it? Him, the coward who couldn't even stop a dog? Barjack, the cat who disgraced his whole family? Stop a dog? A hunter, like his famous ancestor? No. An old scrap of meat was about all he was good for, all he could get. Barjack followed the smell. His awareness led him to an alley over a wall. He came down into the most desolate place that he'd ever seen. So remember, this is skill too, awareness. It was enclosed. It was closed in a courtyard. The sky was hidden here. He'd lost the moon and stars. He could see nothing except concrete, tower blocks looming all around him. Every door and every window was shut, as if the people inside were trying to keep something out. The place made him nervous. The blocks would be impossible to climb over. Their walls were smooth and sheer and steep like this. If something went wrong, if there was trouble, he could easily be trapped. And the only way out was the way that he'd come in. Still, at least, it was shadowy. There were plenty of places for him to hide. And it was quiet. All he could hear was the muffling rumbling of the city in the distance. The smell of meat was now strong, it was potent. In this barren place, with grim precision, like he had a radar, Barjack tracked it to a metal bin that clanked in the corner, helpless on its side in a murky pool of rain. Something brushed against his shoulder. Barjack gasped and ducked and swung around. What was it? There was no one there. Just a rustling sound. A plastic bag, caught by the wind, was circling around him as if it was the hunter and he was the prey. He let out his breath, told himself not to be so nervous, and he turned back to the bin. The smell of meat wasn't quite so nice close up. It was actually rancid, been out in the sun for a long time, rotten. That was why he picked the smell up from so far away. His nose wrinkled. Ugh. If only he could have the bowl of the gentleman's caviar now. But this was all he deserved. Barjack moved towards the bin, and the world erupted into violence. Out of the shadows, those perfect hiding places, 5 fully grown tomcats sprang. Not one of them was wearing a collar. Barjack put up his paws to defend himself, but they were too fast. In a vicious blur of speed, they slammed